What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys had an absolutely fantastic weekend. Looks like the market is dripping, to say the least. We'll see. I'm just trying to get some of my screens open. We got Zach Bruno in the house. Good morning. Yovaris, good morning. We got Bill, Chris, Brian, Jason, Jay, Jenny, good morning. Got my YouTube fam piling in as well. And you're right, Tony, Greg Hill's in the house. We got David. Oof. The team is here. A team of thoroughbreds. We got Stephen King in the house. Patrick is here. Oh, my goodness. All right, let me just get my Thinkorswim up and running. In the meantime, we will do a screen share on TradingView first. We'll try to make our way through some of these morning charts, morning gaps. There is a lot. There's a lot of them today. It's going to be a good day to make some kashisha, I think. We will see. But we also have to see what fits in the plan, what we can take, what we can't take. So we'll do that now. And then obviously, as always, if you guys have any stocks that you guys want to check out or see, by all means, throw that into the chat pane. I got Thinkorswim still opening. Thinkorswim is slow today. All right, so we got the SPY. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a zoom out and just see what's happening. Still a decent, massive gap down. The one thing is, if we flip this over to a daily chart, this is technically a retest gap, right? Pretty severe gap. We did on Friday. We did close right below the 10 EMA. Give me 1 second. All right. That being said, we have one little gap down on the SPY. So this one is sitting somewhere at 416.84-ish. Well, not really gap down, but VPOC. So that we have a little bit of potential resistance from back there where there was some. I don't think it's a lot. I mean, we're on the SPY, we're pretty much below. We're almost below that little bit of a wick where we got to last time, and we did bounce off of that spot. But 1, 2, 3, lots of volume coming in on the SPY. So on the SPY, honestly, we could go either way. I would expect a little bit of buying at open. So I'm still expecting a little bit, maybe a green candle somewhere. I don't think we get a full-on retest today because it is a severe gap down. And I think our targets, and I don't know that this hits today, but I think 411 is in the cards. If not, I mean, for today alone, 414.88, somewhere in the 413. I think eventually we do hit this 411. Again, we're already gapping down a lot, and that would be a big move for one day. We got Rock in the house. What is up, Rock? All right. So we'll see. We'll see how aggressive this gap is. Again, 411 is my target. After that point, and this is just more little longer term out, longer term view. Let me push the screen over here for myself. Good. And this way I can see my YouTube chat pane too, so I don't miss anything from guys. Good morning, Richard and YouTube. How are you? So this gap right here, we'll see. Longer term picture, we still have a gap filled all the way down at, or not gap filled, but VPOC that's untested at 390.60. So I could definitely see targets eventually in some point in time reaching that. Again, it's going to take some time, but if you got the calls or puts, even if you did not load up correctly on there's no real correct way to load up on puts, but if you have no puts or no protection on any of the bounces that we get, I think we broke a pretty major uptrend that we've had. What was that, like 6-week rally, 7-week rally almost? We did break that uptrend, and I think at least in a worst case, I'm not saying big recession happens, but what I am saying is we'll probably get at least a 50% retrace of this, and that could take us right down to the 390 zone, 400 zone, somewhere in there. So I think if you want to ride out some puts, if we do start pushing higher, today would be a good day to also add some puts if you were just waiting and never got filled. Jason says I need to sell a SPY put. Meaning that you own it already, or you're just trying to sell some puts. I don't know if I would sell the naked puts yet. If you bought some puts prior that you want to take some profit on, yeah, I could see that. Selling some at open, trying to buy some back. You have to be very. I have SPY puts. I'm just gonna wait for those to. I'm gonna probably give it another day or two, see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna sell directly at open. I think over the weekend I was actually thinking about that. I was like, if we get a good gap down on Monday, should I sell it? And I'm covering for Maloney, so I was gonna have the first hour free when market opens, so I was gonna do it. But if I'm on the mic, it's not either way. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I'd be making probably a little extra money selling than rebuying those puts and just kind of playing that game. But I'll probably just do it. But they're not for a while. I think I have a couple in November, a couple in December. So I got time on those puts. If they're expiring soon, like this week, yeah, I would definitely highly take advantage of this gap at the open. There's zero this week, even next week. Take advantage of this gap. Clear out some of those puts. Lock in some profits because this is going to be a nice little gap down for those puts. We have the Qs. So the Qs have a little bit more support a little bit sooner. So the first support is 317.37. This one, maybe we see a little bit of a drop, but I think 317.31 is a spot I'm really looking to hold this. Otherwise, we're going to have a big major push down in the overall market today for the Qs. So it's got to hold 317.31. That's the spot I'm looking at. Right now, we actually have a little bit more, and it is a retest gap. I am looking for a little bit more of a retest on the Qs, probably even more so than the SPY, but we'll see. Tesla. September. Whoa, well, September's like a week away, isn't it? 2 weeks? Isn't it? I don't know. I don't even know what day today is, but I think September, I would probably try to lock profits. And then on the dips, like as if we start retesting or anything, I would try to now go another month out, like rebuy back, but try to get the Octobers. September is this Monday? No. Is it? All right. We got. Oh, Matt says never mind. I don't know. I think we're missing each other there, Matt. I know today is not September. I do know that. All right, so we got Tesla with a gap down, just like everything else. So far, Tesla's going to qualify out of the gate. We also had a bearish day on Friday, so therefore, probably the non-extended and extended hours, or at least the non-extended hours, will probably be below the 10 EMA on a 3-minute chart for that. So for that, it qualifies again. It is a retest gap. We are clearing a pivot though, so let's see if we can get any type of buying as we're coming into a little bit of a heavier support on Tesla. So we have two VPOCs right here, 871 and 869-ish. Those are two spots. If we start to break 869, the next spot will probably give us about $19 to the downside, which I'd be looking to hold for. So let's see if we can get a retest right now at open. Still, we're going to get a little bit more risk to reward to a bullish side until that actually breaks. So Tesla, I'm not going to be interested in jumping in right away. Amazon. This gap looks phenomenal. With lots of room. Again, retest gap on this one. I'm going to put this one right now at the high end of my list. We are below every single one of the recent VPOCs, and we have lots of room on this one. Amazon is definitely going to be in my wheelhouse for 10 EMA. It qualifies. Again, I would love to see a little bit of a retest. I don't really know how much of a retest I do want to see, though, because we have that 135.66. I just want to see a green candle in some sort so that we could take some kind of a breakdown. But this one looks good. Hector, I don't know if Hector's in the house, but I think he had some puts on Amazon. I'm not sure when they expired, though. Kyle's in the house. What's up? Hector, January, yeah. So you got some time on those, too. Yep, this is a really nice gap. If we could open below this previous VPOC 135.68, this is a very, very good gap. I would be looking for, again, this is a big move if it happens today. 124. I don't know if it does. I'm gonna probably pick up some puts on Amazon today at open. We'll see. I'm gonna zoom out real quick. Yeah, there's not a lot to. There's zero. If man, there's zero holding us. There's a couple candles, so the couple candles people might be looking at and like, okay, we might hold and buy it, but we'll see if we can get. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a buying pressure. Let's see if we get some shorts taking profits. I think that's more of it. Let's see if we get some shorts taking profits. But Amazon looks really, really nice. Apple, AAPL. So this one is at a little bit of support. We do have. Let's pull up the daily chart. We do have a relatively decent downtrend on Apple as far as pivots go. And so right now we are gapping below the 10 EMA on that daily chart. And we are right back into that little bit of what was support resistance, right? So I wanted to see that hold if this thing was going to stay strong. Obviously, big, massive move. The entire market's coming down. I would expect for Apple to retrace something. That being said, where this thing is gapping is going to be a little bit of a definitely more weaker than stronger gap just because we're getting back into that little bit of a downtrend. But if we look at the hourly chart again, we're sitting right on top of a VPOC. And we also have a bigger major level somewhere at this 165. So yes, I do think short. I think this one has the potential to retest a little bit better than some of the other ones. And I'm not as comfortable as the room that it has until the next target, unlike Amazon. Delta. Boeing looks like island reversal. All right, we'll check that one out in a second. We've got Delta. Pretty sweet gap as well. This one might be gapping a little too much for risk reward to the downside. So this would probably give us about $32.10, maybe a little bit lower, $32 before we start hitting some decent support. And this is also a retest gap, so I'll probably avoid that one at open. But if this one starts pushing up higher, this would be one that the higher we get, the better. Even if we get into like a 32.95, we still have about 95 cents of profit at that point, which is okay. It's not that crazy. But I think a lot of the market makers were already taking some profits on that one. AMD, really nice gap. So I did talk to Maloney this morning. And her words of wisdom, you guys could take it how you need to, but her words of wisdom, she liked AMD to the short side. Maloney going short, I don't know. That's off brand. That's off brand, I think. I don't know. But yeah. So you have relatively decent gap down. Let me take a look at the weekly. So she's got the weekly. So she's got two inside candles on a weekly chart gapping down. The only issue right now is we do have a 10 EMA on a weekly that we're sitting at, but this could definitely be the start of a relatively decent size pullback. I get that. The hourly chart, Steven's a shocker. In other news, dogs chase cats. If you run, you go faster. The team that scores the most points usually wins the game. Let's see. We got 92.80 would be our first. So off the bat, I'm just a little worried immediately about the targets on it. We know that 10 EMA on the weekly is coming in for sure. And we are gapping down. It is two inside candles on a weekly. So that looks really nice. Let's see if we can short this thing as high as possible. I do agree 110,000% with the sentiment. That is a really nice gap. Just the targets for me would be the only thing that would give me a little bit of cause for pause, I guess, on taking this thing down. But it is a really, really nice gap. So just keep in mind, two inside candles on a weekly basis. Short as high as you could. I get that. We got NVIDIA. Big gap down at a very, very so this dotted line goes out to a wider time frame of VPOC, and we are pretty much right at that zone right now. So 173.82 should look like some kind of support. So again, I'm actually at open, even though this is a pretty big gap down. All of these things are, for the most part, pretty close to a decent support zone. I do like everything short right now, but I would say let's try to short as high as we possibly can. The only one, and we'll see where Amazon stands. The only one I'm really comfortable with, or I think the best play today, would probably be Amazon from the list that we look at every single day. We want to look at Boeing for that island reversal. Is that on the daily, I'm guessing? I guess it would really wouldn't matter. That does look quite the bit island reversal. Again, we are coming into a little bit of support. Probably going to be, I would assume, a little bit tightly wound in this area, as we have a bunch of different VPOCs. Anything under this 158.91 should take us down to about 155.89 in a longer term picture of things. Here's our daily candle. This is what Steven Jackson was pointing out. Anything island reversal is usually very, very strong reversal pattern. So decent gap up. We held. Again, here's a longer term downtrend, kind of like what we saw at Apple. We are gapping below that. We are below the daily 10 EMA. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly 10 EMA, we have a little bit of room. Pretty much that target that we just looked at. So somewhere in the 156 zone, 156.50 should be a decent hold spot. But again, yeah, longer term island reversal. If I was a CEO and I knew anything about charts, I would not feel comfortable about my job. But his job is safe because he's it's got the government work. I don't know. He's probably good. Matt says I have SPY puts 400 expiration September 22. He's too big to fail. Yeah. So what I would say, I mean, I don't want to give any advice. What I would say is, for me, if I was in that situation, it depends on where those things open, and also, I guess, where you got them. So if you got them close to where Jeremy was saying short everything, those are probably up decent. And it depends on how many. If you have a bunch of them or a couple of them, more than one, I would definitely sell a couple of them, take some profit, let the rest ride, because you still have a little bit of time on those. And then if this way you're at least locking profit, if it goes up, you're able to buy some and now get a little longer time frame on those into maybe October, and then try to ride the rest down. But yeah, there's a few other variables that I would, for me, want to know: how many, where you got them, all of that stuff as well. But I do think we probably come in for some kind of retest at some point. So if you want to try to sell all, as long as you got a good read, the only downside to that, and the only concern of why I'm like, maybe don't sell all at the open, is because what if this is the worst retest we've ever seen and it just keeps on coming down? It's obviously possible, and I know I'm looking at Boeing, not SPY, but then you sell it. Yes, either way, you lock in all your profit. But if this is a very weak retest, and then you're sitting there and you're like, man, I wish where do I get back in? So that's never a really good feeling. All right. I know crypto was kind of just a little bit to the downside over the weekend. So Coinbase looks like a fairly decent gap right now. Still, again, retest gap. And this one keeps seemingly gapping almost every day now. So it's 2 days in a row. We got some gap. Joshua's in the house. What's up, Joshua? PayPal. We could watch PayPal. It's not quite there the same way that Amazon was, and we'll go back to Amazon and we'll check that out in a few minutes as well, just to make sure that we're in the same camp still. But this one is holding a VPOC. This is kind of like the last of the Mohicans. This one has to hold. If PayPal breaks, we'll probably end up seeing a little bit of a larger target. So keep PayPal on the radar. I don't think it's ready yet. It is a retest gap, and we are still holding that VPOC. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a higher push on PayPal. Otherwise, if we start getting some closes, probably below $94, $94.05, something like that, I might as well go 94. This way it's a nice whole number that we're breaking as well. But targets in that one could be somewhere around the 89.60. So that looks decent. I don't think it's quite ready yet, as we could get that retest coming in, but it's very, very close to it. Square. So this one is also a gap down into a little bit of a stronger support. So I kind of like, if I'm going to go with payment systems, I'm probably going to look for more of a short on PayPal than Square at the moment. Airbnb, decent gap down. Again, I would be looking for something closer to shorting at 110.55 for a breakdown. Otherwise, this one, let's see if we get a bigger retest on that. JP Morgan. Morgan. 116.80. This still looks like it has a little bit of room to the downside, maybe about another $1 to the downside before we start hitting some type of potential support. So nothing too crazy. We have a little bit more room on JP Morgan to the higher side on the retest. We have Snow almost at a little bit of a stronger support. Teladoc, how this thing is still $32. It's beyond amazing. It's like the ninth wonder of the world. Decent gap down into a little bit of support. Roku, Justin Williams. Good morning to you. Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's crazy. Any other tickers that look interesting that you guys see? Throw those into the chat pane. I'm just trying to scroll through my list, see if there's any more crazy gaps out there. Then we'll check out Amazon again before that bell rings, just to see where this thing is going to open on Amazon. Netflix still kind of hanging out. DraftKings for Rocky Road. DraftKings might have a little bit more room there, Rock. So what I would prefer to see, this is a retest gap, so that means probably don't short at open. Wait for the retest, either go long at the open or wait for it to go up and then look for a short. I would probably take the latter of that, just because to the upside, to the higher side, you're probably sitting at about 50 cents to the northbound side of things. Maybe it does go a little bit higher and we end up coming into like 1822 or 1820. If we hit 1820, that's definitely a short time. That's the time to attempt to go short on that one. But we might only get up to like 1791-ish. Either way, I think probably still a lot of room to the downside. I think we have to probably come into 1636, somewhere in that zone, before we'll evaluate it, see if that's a 50% retrace bounce. Right now, it looks, just eyeballing it, looks like it's at some kind of 38% retrace. Steven Jackson says lift. All right, we got lift. Yeah. It's very close to having a good drop. I'll say that. I'd have to wait for the retest on this one. Let me just see a fib on this one, because this one could be, this one's either at the 50 or the 618. Let's see, fib on lift. Oops, I was so close. Roughly, it looks like it's opening at the 618 from what I just saw, but let's see if I can lock that in. Yeah, so we're right in between the 50 and the 618. So looking for a bounce at 1596. That only is going to give us, before we probably hit a little bit of, at worst case, the 618 on lift. It doesn't give us that much room, and it's also a retest gap. So I'd have to probably be a little more cautious to see which way it wants to break. We do have this VPOC over here, so I think anything that starts locking really under $16 is time to highly consider going short, because then we will have a decent amount of drop, almost to like 1437. I would say bare minimum, but if not, there is a little bit of a gap that has to close too, and that would be close to about 1389. We still have some untested VPOCs. Yeah, so I would say most likely to the downside, but again, I don't know what it's going to do at that 618. I think we probably get some buying somewhere at that VPOC or the 618 on this one. FSLR. FSLR below. So that one's gapping below our daily 10 EMA. We're definitely a gap and go. So that one looks a little bit different than the rest of the market, which looks nice. First target on this one, probably about 109. Yeah, so this one I like a lot. First solar. First target on this one I'll be looking at is 109.36. So that's still giving us about, what is that, $2.70 ish to the downside. And then obviously we get some kind of break of that level. That could almost be a 10% move. Yeah, this one looks good. Let me see if I can just add this one real quick. FSLR, because it is a little bit different than the rest of the market as well. Let's get this right underneath Amazon for today. And let's also move AMD up, since I know Maloney wants to short that one. We'll keep an eye on that one. Sky says Twilio. Amazon is right at that support. Oh, it's going to be close when this one opens. TWLO. This one looks like a disaster. We gap. Is this all-time lows for Twilio? Let's go to a monthly. No, so it's not all-time lows, but we are. Here's a monthly chart, and we are gapping almost below the monthly hammer that came in over here. Definitely below this green one. We closed. There's been a lot of selling month to month on this. Sentiment just looks horribly weak, and you are gapping pretty significantly below. You have a little bit of a longer term support on Twilio. Right now, I don't think I'd be personally buying it to go long at that support. Looks like we're almost starting to break that support, and I would assume comes down. But yeah, Twilio does look extremely weak. All of this volume now is going to be some kind of resistance. So to the higher side of things, we should have more resistance than we do support on this thing. So yeah, for me, I would still be leaning in a very bearish direction on Twilio until I see something different. You had a little bit of support, started creating one attempt for a higher high. That didn't work. We got a new lower low, double top, a little bull trap on a breakout. And this one looks like it's trying to come down a little bit. MU. We got what, a minute 30 left. MU, Micron Technologies. This one would be a retest gap and currently into a little bit of support. So see if we can get the retest on that one. If you want to short, probably the best price is $60.47. I'd be looking for a short. Target on this one would be about $58.65. I'd wait for a little bit of a bounce on that one. VZ. That looks like an impressive gap. One little spot of support holding this thing on Verizon, but if that one breaks, I gotta flip it to a weekly, I guess. All sorts of weak. Yep, in a longer term picture, there's nothing really holding us up. So I think Verizon looks like a particularly smart short. This is only going to take you to about 40. Like, it looks bigger on this one because it doesn't move as much. But the next spot, a little bit of support, maybe around 42.23. Otherwise, you're not really going to have that much support until probably about the $40 range, slightly under $40 maybe, $39.88, somewhere in that range. We got 5 seconds left. YouTubers, unfortunately, there's a time I got to disconnect, but you got us every single day, trade with us all day long, take some of the classes that we do live each and every day. That would be very easy to do. Just go to reallifetrading.com and you guys will be able to have the all access pass to reallifetrading.com. Worst case scenario, make sure you guys take the online courses that we have. They are absolutely free, full courses, no sales pitch, I promise. But unfortunately, at this point, I got to let you guys go. Be safe out there in the markets. Be patient, especially if things start to bounce a little bit. I would be more